In this video, we're going to talk about perimeter, area, circumference, and volume. These questions are going to be pretty simple for now. We're just going to be going over an overview of how to find perimeter and how to find area of a rectangle and a square. Perimeter by definition is the distance around a geometric figure. So in a problem where you're trying to put, let's say, tape around a rectangular window, you would have to find the perimeter. If you're going to put a fence around a house, that would be perimeter. In a rectangle, you have length and width. The longer side is what we call the length. The shorter side is the width. So in a rectangle, opposite sides are congruent. That means they measure exactly the same. So this is also the length. This is also the width. One way to find perimeter is to add up all of the sides, or basically I can get twice the length plus twice the width. So that's how we get the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle. When you have a square is a rectangle, but all of the sides are exactly the same. Whatever this measure is for this side, it's the same all the way around. So basically s plus s plus s plus s, then that means that the perimeter is going to be 4 times the side. And so that's where this formula of 4 times the side comes in to find the perimeter of a square. Area is the number of square units needed to cover a surface. If you're going to paint a wall, you have to find the area of the wall. If you're going to tile a floor, you have to find the area of the floor because you're going to be actually covering it. So to find the area of a rectangle, then you're going to multiply the length times the width. And to find the area of a rectangle, it's a side times a side, which means basically the side squared. And that's how you get these formulas for the area. Area has square units, whereas perimeter, the units are not square. If they're meters, it's just meters. Centimeters, just centimeters. So let's take a look at some examples. For each problem, draw the figure and calculate the perimeter and area of each figure. Remember to include units for each answer. Question number 1. A rectangle has a length of 8 inches and a width of 4 inches. So the first thing we have to do is draw the figure. So you're going to draw a rectangle. The length is 8 inches. The width is 4 inches. Now our job is to figure out the perimeter. Perimeter is twice the length plus twice the width. So in this case, the perimeter is 2 times 8 plus 2 times 4. 2 times 8 is 16, and 16 plus 8 is going to equal 24. And in this case, it's inches, so 24 inches is going to be the perimeter. To find the area of this rectangle, I need to multiply the length times the width. So here the area is 8 inches times 4 inches, which is 32 square inches, because the units are always going to be square. So those are the answers for question number 1. In question number 2, we have a square. Remember that a square has all 4 congruent sides, and the side length is 4 centimeters. So that means that it's 4 centimeters all the way around the square. To figure out the perimeter, you're going to basically just multiply 4 from the formula, because there's 4 sides to a square, and then it just so happens that here the side length is 4. So that means the perimeter is 4 times 4, which is 16 centimeters. Or you could have just added all the sides. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 16. Then to figure out the area is just going to be one side squared, which also happens to be 16. But in this case, the units are going to be square centimeters. And this It's just a coincidence that we ended up with exactly the same answer for perimeter as we did for the area. Okay, so it's just a coincidence. That doesn't necessarily always happen. Let's go ahead now and talk about circumference and area of a circle. So circumference, I want you to think of circumference like perimeter, except that in mathematics, mathematicians mean exactly what they say. And how do you find perimeter? You add up all the sides. A circle does not have sides. So instead we have this word circumference, but the circumference is just the distance around a circle. In a circle, and I'm just going to draw a general circle for right here so you can see it. We have the center, and then the radius is from the center to any point on the circle. If I go ahead and draw a chord right through the center that connects both sides, that's another radius. That's radii. Radii is plural of radius. And then here that we call this a diameter. So the diameter is 2 times the radius, just like the radius is 1/2 of the diameter. And I mentioned that word chord, and even though it really doesn't have anything to do right now with circumference and area, this is what a chord looks like. It just connects any 2 parts of the circle. The diameter is the longest chord in a circle because it goes through the center. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with these problems. Notice we have formulas associated with the circumference and area of a circle. The circumference of a circle is 2 pi times the radius, or because we said the diameter is twice the radius, we can just say circumference is pi times diameter. And then to find the area of the circle, we're going to use the formula area is equal to pi r squared. Now, pi is an irrational number. An irrational number is a decimal that continues forever. Pi is approximately 3.14, but that's an approximation. So pi is actually an irrational number that continues forever. Let's look at the directions. For each problem, draw a circle with a given situation, then find the circumference and area of each circle. Give your answer in terms of pi. In terms of pi means do not multiply by 3.14 or by pi, because calculators do have the entire value of pi in them. Just leave it in terms of pi. That means leave pi in your answer. And then use pi is approximately 3.14 to round your answers to the nearest hundredth. The nearest hundredth is 2 decimal places, okay? 2 decimal places. Remember to include the units in your answer. So let's start with number 1. That's a lot of directions. It says the radius is 6 meters. So the first thing we have to do is to draw the circle. So I'm going to draw a circle. The radius. Everyone usually draws the radius going straight this way, but it can go anywhere on the circle, to be quite honest, because by definition, the radius is from the center to any point on the circle. In this case, the radius is 6 meters. So it says find the circumference in terms of pi. So the circumference formula is 2 pi times the radius. The radius is 6. 2 pi times 6 means that this is equal to 12 pi. And now if I'm going to multiply by 3.14, that means that the answer for the circumference is approximately 37.68, and the units are meters. So 12 pi meters and 37.68 meters. So that's the circumference. The area formula is pi radius squared. In this case, the radius is 6. 6 squared is 36. So the area is 36 pi meters squared. I know it looks weird because we have a symbol we have the meter squared, but that's the answer. And then if I multiply 36 times 3.14, then that means that my answer is approximately 113.04 square meters. And that is going to be rounded to the nearest hundredth. That's 2 decimal places. In question number 2, the diameter is 10 meters. I'm going to draw a circle. This time the diameter is going to be 10 meters. The diameter is twice the radius, therefore the radius is going to be half of the diameter. The radius is 5 meters. When I go to find the circumference, I can go ahead and use the formula pi times diameter since I know what the diameter is. So here pi times the diameter is 10. My answer is just 10 pi meters. Or if I multiply 3.14 times 10, then that means that my answer is approximately 31.4 meters. If I want to find the area is pi radius squared. Here's where you have to be careful because the diameter is 10, but in the formula for area, it doesn't call for the diameter, it calls for the radius. Remember we said the radius is 5. So this area is going to be pi times 5 squared. 5 squared means 5 times 5, which is 25. So the area here is 25 pi. And area, the units are always squared, so square meters. And then go ahead and take your calculator, multiply 25 times 3.14, and the answer is going to be approximately 78.5 square meters. And there you have the drawing of the circle. You found the circumference and the area in terms of pi. That means leave pi in the answer, and then using pi approximately equal to 3.14 to round your answers to the nearest hundredth with the units included in your answer. Finally, we're going to talk about volume, but the volume problems we're going to work with right now are actually pretty simple. Volume, by definition, is the measure of space occupied by a solid. So if you have a pool in your house or you go to a pool, the amount of water that's in that pool, that is volume. If you have a soda can, the amount of soda that's in that can, that is volume. Volume is measured in cubic units. Today we're going to talk about finding the volume of a rectangular solid or a box. A rectangular prism is a box basically. And the formula for volume is length times width times height. So here are the directions. For each problem, find the volume. Remember to include the units in your answer. A box measures 12 inches long, 16 inches high, and 9 inches wide. So I'm going to go ahead and try to create a box so that you can see these 3 dimensions. So the length is 12 inches long. It is 16 inches high, and it's 9 inches wide. To find the volume of the box, we're going to multiply the length times the width times the height. So here we do 12 times 9 times 16. Grab your calculators. Go ahead and multiply 12 times 9 times 16. And you get 1,728 cubic inches. Remember, the units are always cubic. In number 2, we have a cube. In a cube, all of the sides are exactly the same. In a cube, all of the sides measure exactly the same. So in this case, the length, the width, and the height, they're all 5. So they're 5 all the way around. So to figure out the volume, which is also length times width times height, or just a side to the 3rd power, a side cubed. And that's kind of where you get the whole word cube from. So here it's 5 cubed, which is 125. And then this is feet, so cubic feet. And there you have it. That's how you find the volume of a rectangular prism and a cube. Hope you found this video helpful. Remember to subscribe to my channel for more help with math so that you can say, yes, I can do math with confidence. Until next time, thanks for watching.